Well, good morning. It's now about 7:30 in the morning on Saturday the 23rd of May. I'm Andy and this is my allotment. It's only been a week since I did the last video, so there's not a huge amount to show you, but I'm going to show you some of the changes anyway. And most of the work has been taking place inside the greenhouse, to be honest, getting everything sown in a little time that I have. Pretty much every night for the last 2 weeks I've been busy with some committee meeting or other, and as a result the allotment is starting to suffer a little bit. There's weeds coming up where they shouldn't be, and it's not as good as it could have been, let's put it that way. I'm busy again today. I've got about an hour down here, then I'm off for a full day meeting and I'm working tonight. But tomorrow and Monday are pretty much clear, so I'm hoping to get a lot done this weekend. So I might do another video after Monday and tag it on, or I might do that for next week's and just leave it all as one, I don't know. So start at the bottom end where I normally start. My bag of soil or compost that I got is now getting about half empty. It's being used to top up potatoes, it's being used to go on beds, and overall I'm impressed with this one. It's the local council's recycled compost, and it was £44 for 500 litres, so I'm quite pleased with that. I've also got a bag of wood chip. We have had a large delivery of wood chip down here, which has been shared between 7 of us. We've all taken 1 bag each so far. I reckon we'll probably get 3/4 to a full bag each left, but we're going to take another half bag each to see how we do, and work our way down there. Now, the weeds, lots of them. As you can see down this side where the path, I mean that stake is the edge of my allotment, and the path isn't exactly straight, so some of those weeds are probably on the path, some aren't, but there's no real definition at the moment. So what we're going to try and do is clear all these down. I've got some weeds there, as you can see, with actually flower spikes on them, like bulrush type things, but they need to come out. That's something I've got to do this weekend. I've got to get my hands and knees and get down there. And the other side of the blue frame is a flag iris on the left hand side, and on the right hand side there's weeds which are big as the flag iris. I didn't cover those over with a weed fabric when I put it all down earlier this year. I should have done, so I'm going to have to do it now. Simple as that. Anyway, moving on to the growing stuff. Square foot garden bed is doing quite well. I've got pak choi in this corner here. There were 4 of them, but the slug's got 1. Then I've got some amethyst radish. Now I think that's turnip. One of the problems I found as well is I use one of the label making machines to make my labels, and they don't do well in the rain and the sun. I thought they might at least stay a bit longer than they have, and all the labels are gone, so I really don't know what I've got in here. But I'm going to give it a try and find out what they were. Look back at my previous videos and see if I've got a note on there. Spring onions coming up in bunches. Looks like I've got out of 16 bunches, 15 have come through, and some little gem lettuce there, which is looking quite nice. A couple of weeks never ready for taking. I'm pretty certain those are purple top Milan there, to be honest. I'm not sure what that is, because it looks like there's 2 or 3 different things in there. It might be a lettuce mix, looking at it, but I'll find out. Now, lots of other little weeds coming up around which I need to hoe down. Again, I've not had the time to do it. When I've been down here I've been concentrating in the greenhouse, so that will be done this weekend. Comfrey bush, absolutely fantastic. Unfortunately it's covering over my main path. I say this every year, I've got to move it, and I haven't got around to moving it, but I will. And I've got a comfrey plant just self-seeded itself there. So obviously this isn't a Bocking 11, it's a seeding variety, which is good, not a problem, but don't want it there. Broad beans. Lots and lots and lots of flowers on the broad beans. One of the main problems I'm having is slug damage over on that side. You can see the gap in the middle. Because all the weeds are behind it, that's where the slugs are living. And of course they're all climbing over and having a munch on my broad beans. So I put some pellets down. It's done its job. There's quite a few slug trails around, and the damage has slowed down. It's not stopped, but it's slowed down. Looking to get some broad beans off these fairly soon, so I'm quite pleased with those. Raspberries, strawberries, etc. This is the raspberry bed I tried to empty at this end. Obviously I missed a couple. And then down that end there's either blackberries or tayberries and some raspberries. I'm not sure now whether I'm going to do anything with them for the rest of the year apart from weed. I might then simply keep them trimmed back, the blackberries, because they're just go wild. But I might leave the rest for now and get a crop off them and move them later in the season when the crop's finished. The other side of the bed, again full of weeds, lots of grass in there, needs desorting, but loads of strawberries, absolutely loads of them as you can see. Lots of big flowers, so I've got a lot of hope for these. I was going to lift all these out, fill this with soil and put black fabric down and plant through it. I may still do that. I may risk losing some of these this year just to get it sorted. As you can see, there's loads and loads of little weeds in there that are growing up. God knows where they all come from. But anyway, that's what I'm going to do. On this side as well, these are the self-planted runners, which are doing quite well. And on the other side over there, as you can see underneath the baskets, again, they were planted through black fabric. They're doing really well, but the fabric needs replacing. So again, everything's going to be lifted in these two beds, and this third one as well, filled up with soil, compost, and then put back. So hopefully that'll do well. Right, fruit bushes, gooseberries and black currants. Now, I don't know if you can see on there, absolutely loads of gooseberries coming, absolutely loads of them. Didn't have a problem last year with anything taking them, so I'm not going to net them this year. If anything takes them this year, then I'll think about netting them again. And black currants, absolutely loads of them coming. So these were only twigs when I got them a few years ago, so I'm very happy with that. There's just dripping with currants everywhere. One thing I have noticed though, however, is that we're being attacked by aphids. And you can see this curl on the leaf, and then underneath it, it's full of aphids. Again, what I need to do is get a water and soap solution and spray these, get underneath all the leaves. There's quite a lot of them around looking at them. It's always on the top of the leaf, and they are basically a nuisance. I could just pinch the leaves off and leave it like that to stop the bush growing a little bit, which I might do. I might do a bit of both and see which is most effective. See how we do. Right. This bed needs emptying. As you can see, I've got loads of horsetail coming through. I should have got rid of this earlier than it now, let it get too big. But what I think I'm going to plant in here is I think I'm going to put my sweet corn in here this year. I'll show you the sweet corn in a bit. They're pretty much ready for going out, so they may come out this weekend as well. But these old cabbages from last year, they should have gone by now, but I haven't brought them out yet, my fault. Totally empty bed. Now last year this had parsnips and sweet corn in it. This year he's going to put brassicas in it. I've got a load of cabbages ready, not cabbages, sorry, cauliflowers ready, which I'll show you in a minute. And as far as the rest of it is concerned, I've got some kale, some purple sprouting, all sorts of things in the polytunnel, but they're not big enough yet to come out, but so that's where this bed's going to be. Another fruit bed with lots of weeds in it. So I made a start on clearing it, but all I've done is just allow space for all the rest of the weeds to colonise. So again, what I've got to do with this is just get in there, dig it, turn it over, hoe it, and clear a bit more of the weeds, and just keep on going until I get rid of all of it. This is the home to my red currants and white currants, which are being swamped at the moment by all the weeds. Again, it's another job I keep got to get around to and just never have as yet. Garlic and onions in this bed, and volunteer potatoes, unfortunately. Now, you go through your potatoes, you dig them out, you sift through the soil, you get every last bit out, and they still grow. I've had about a pound of potatoes out of this year, and I can still see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about another 10, 11 potatoes in there. But on the good news, the garlic is looking good. A little bit yellow on the ends of the leaves where the frost has got it, I think. And the onions are starting definitely to swell up. I mean, that's a decent sized onion down there. Under the ground it'll be very nice. I just want to wait for those to grow. I'll show you inside the polytunnel greenhouse. The polytunnel's gone. As I said, most of my time recently has been spent in here because I've not had a lot of time. So I'll show you what we've got from this end to this end. Onions and shallots in there, which I've grown from seed, looking pretty good. So they're going to be my second late onions, if you like. Underneath this cover, there's nothing coming through yet, but I've got some kale and some early purple sprouting. I think it is. Hang on a second. Brussels and Cavolo Nero. Get it right. At one end, and at the other end I've got some chilies. They only went in this week, so I'm not expecting much from them. Oh yeah, I had a little delivery 2 days ago. I wasn't I've forgotten all about it. I applied for some of these Crimson Crush blight resistant tomatoes, and I got a pack through the. I expected a pack of seeds. Got a pack through the post with 2 plants in it. They were looking a bit worse for wear, to be fair. So potted them out straight on and gave them a good drink, and they perked up. Still got yellow on the leaves, etc. But I'm hopeful that they'll be all right. Now at the back of there is a sweet corn. Let's see, there's 32 sweet corn in there, and I've had 31 come up. Very pleased with that. Some are a bit bigger than others, but again, these are now ready to go out. I mean, they're about 12-14 inches tall, some of them. Right, at the front here, this is where I put all my squashes. Not a single pumpkin's come up yet, I don't think. Oh no, I'm telling a lie, there is one here. An Atlantic Giant is coming through here. It looks a big one as well, dear me. So I've got a couple of baby bears, a couple of jack-o'-lanterns, a couple of mammoths, a couple of Atlantic Giants. Don't want that many pumpkins really. I'm growing them for my grandson, so we can see them grow and get bigger and bigger. Because it's great for kids to see things like that. But anyway, I've got 1 pumpkin coming through. A couple of cucumbers, market moors, the standard. Put 2 in, 2 coming up. Some, let's see, what's that one now? Zucchetta trombo. Those are the squash that climb and are in like a J shape with a big lump on the end. I've got 2 of those coming up. Spaghetti squash, courgette gold rush, 2 out of 3, and courgette romanesco, which is the stripy one, 2 out of 2 on those. That's great. I've got loads and loads of celeriac. I've got 27 celeriac in here. Some of these are being given away. I grew 1 row's worth in my plant trainer thing, and they virtually all came up. Got some more tomatoes at the back there. I've got a couple of green zebras. I've got what else have I got? A marmand that survived. I've got a black cherry. I've got garden pearl. So I've got a few tomatoes that have survived. Some little gems and some spinach. Now the spinach look like they're about to bolt, to be honest. It might be too warm for them in here, so I think I might take those out and put them in the cold frame. But plenty there. And I sold some parsnips. Now they went in, let's see, when did they go in? On the 13th, so they've been in for 10 days. No sign of any germination at all yet. One of the packs of seeds was old, one of the packs was new. Just going to try it and see what the germination rate is for all of those. But at the end of the day, if they don't come up, they don't come up. I've got 28 in there, which is more than I need. And I can always sow more, because last year I didn't sow them until much later. In here I've got various herbs, mostly oregano and lemon balm, and 1 little parsley plant that survived. These are the ones that survived all over the winter, being totally neglected in the polytunnel, so I'm not knocking it. These are great. And then these are my brassicas. Kale on this right hand side, quite a few of them in the little green box. And at the back, from the back coming forward, got purple sprouting broccoli coming up. Florence fennel, nothing coming there. Savoy King, quite a few. 1 solitary autumn green calabrese. Quite a few kohlrabi, and then nothing for romanesco. But it's early. I have only put those in on the 15th, so they've only been in for just over a week, so I'm quite pleased with those. I've still got potatoes to put in the ground. As you can see down here, behind all my seeds, I've got 3 trays of Sapo Mira and a box of pink fir apple. Still got to go in the ground, well, in pots, because I haven't had a chance to do anything with them as yet. Just running out of time. Shallots have now been relegated to the second shelf because they are ready to go in, well ready. In here I've got some tomatillos, some chilies, some beetroots. Again, they only went in after 3 days ago, the 20th, so they're not a problem. And then I've got some beans. Now these have caused me a bit of a worry. Cobra beans, they've been in for 2 weeks. I've not got a single sign of any of them coming out, and they were relatively new seeds this year. So, a bit of concern. Right. This bed needs sorting, obviously. This is one that I had to move to put the greenhouse in, so I've just basically left it. Bit at an angle, it needs digging out on one side and dropping down, and then all this rubbish coming out the middle, then I can use it. Not sure what I'm going to use it for. And this wood chip underneath here needs to move down a bit, and a bed be built, and so on and so on. You know the story, you've heard it before. Cold frame, the lid's off the cold frame. It's off permanently now, to be honest. I've got some onions at the back, they're going to go out this morning. At the front here is the cauliflowers I was telling you about. I did have a problem with slugs in there, but they seem to have gone. And then at the front here I've got little gem and the spinach at the back again trying to bolt, so whether it's in too small a pot I don't know. And then all the lettuce at the back. I'll show you my potatoes quickly. This is something else I've done since last time. These are all my first earlies and second earlies and my early main crop. They're all out now. The ones that are coming up in the 5 buckets there, those are bambinos. They've been in the longest. Then the rest of these in the bags and the buckets, nothing showing as yet. They've been in, let's see, how long have they been in? March the 15th, so again 8 days only, so again not too concerned. I'd like to have seen them coming up by now. In fact I think I've got one in there, yeah, got one in there coming through, but only just. So these all need earthing up right to the top of the pots, because they're doing really well now. At one point I was a bit concerned because nothing is showing at all, but life goes on. Room for more bags, buckets, what have you on here, to put the Sarpo Mira out and the pink fir apple. Doing everything in bags and buckets this year, pure and simply because I've got all this space here which I want to use. I want to make sure that this is actually used up rather than having it just wasteland. A lot of the woods etc that's on here is going to be used making beds. Grass needs cutting around there as well. I think I have to borrow the strimmer to have a go at that and just trim it all back. I'm going to extend the compost bin a little bit, fork everything over into it, and perhaps put some flags down in front of it to stop all the grass growing so I can get to it. Not sure yet what I'm going to do, that I haven't really decided. Lots of grass in front of the shed as well, with my drainage ditches, that just needs filling in, the last bit. I'm going to get some stone for the greenhouse. When I get the stone for the greenhouse, I'm going to fill that in as well. Raspberries and grape. As you can see, the raspberries are starting to do really well. Starting to get flowers on the raspberry. And the grape, we're hitting buds towards the end of the run, and we have got some leaves coming out earlier doors. So I'm quite pleased with that, because I thought I'd killed this off by trimming it back so viciously. But it looks like I might have a chance here. Although it looks like only one of these branches is going, but if it is, it is. It's not a major problem. But see, these are the 2 raspberries I thought I'd killed off completely, but they're very resilient and they've come back. The polytunnel has gone. I have a frame left which I'm going to use as a fruit frame. I'm going to put it over the raspberries and the grapes. It won't cover all of it, but it'll cover quite a lot of it. Or I might put it over the strawberries and simply extend it. I don't know yet, I've got to work out where it's going. This whole area is going to be turned into raised bed, with a path and another raised bed next to the shed. Because, as you can see, it hasn't rained for about 3 or 4 days, and I've still got standing water in there. This is why I decided, I didn't want to keep coming in here, I just got depressed every time I walked into this, to be honest. But it's gone, so not a problem. Grandson Jack's bed. Slugs have been at it again. Struggling with slugs at this end. So spinach plants there, as you can see, as you go further in, the less nibbled they are, the better they are. And he's got some little gems, which are doing well. There's a great big black slug behind it, which I'm going to come back and get later. He's got some shallots and weeds, which we're going to have to get rid of. Unfortunately, he's also getting horsetail in this bed as well. Still. Now, Jack's potatoes. Very strange. These are both Pentland javelins. These are well up. Those are just starting. Now, I'm wondering whether I got my Pentland javelins mixed up with something else, because there's such a disparity between the ones here and the ones there. They were both put in at the same time. They're both just, well, this is just starting. There's 2 out of 3 coming out there. All 3 are up and really doing well there, so I think I've got 2 different sorts of potatoes there, to be honest. Doesn't matter, it's growing, he's happy. Rhubarb, being eaten to bits by the slugs. God knows why, but they seem to enjoy it. I mean, look at the size of that beggar. Great big black slug on there. I think I'm going to have to pellet it. One of those things. Right, the fruit trees. I misunderstood the rules on the allotment, which is a bit of a shame since I'm chair, to think that they should have any trees you like in pots, but only 1 in the ground. The rule is definitely just 1. I've got 3 trees down here now, even if they are little baby ones. So, what's going to happen is this pear tree is staying, because, well, I think it will only need some more attention. And then I've got an apple tree here with loads of blossom on, which is doing really well. A lot of the blossom is hopefully set now. And I've got an apple tree there, which has also got lots of blossom on. These are going to be moved off my allotment and just basically onto the orchard area up against that white panel. It's off my allotment, it's on the orchard area, which we're allowed to have trees if we ask permission. So I put them there. They're effectively not on my allotment, but they're close enough so I can get to them, which is fine. So, a lot to do, not a lot being done, but things are moving on very, very quickly as far as nature's concerned. I mean, look at I weeded all this, look at the state of the grass in here. It's a hands and knees job this, I'm afraid, so I'll have to get on with that shortly. But as I say, I've only got about an hour down here today. Get it all cleared, get everything sorted out, as much as I can anyway. Get some onions planted out to the cold frame so I can put the spinach into the cold frame. Or maybe put the spinach in the ground as well, I really don't know yet. I've got to work on what I can do. And clear some of this grass. A lot to do this weekend, so I better get on with it. Anyway, thanks for watching. I will see you all again in the next video. Bye for now.